Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Vaughn, and I am here with you today for our very first podcast of How She Got There Women in Tech. And my very first guest today is Mamta Suri. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. Is that correct, Mamta?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good, because names are important and they should always be honored, I think. I want to hear your origin story. Where are you from? What did you want to be when you grew up? Because now you are the senior engineer, a senior engineering lead at Workday, which is a great program I've used at one of my past companies. So I'd love to hear what you wanted to be as a little girl, where you grew up, and how you got to Workday.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually came to United States when I was 15 years old.
Okay.
So I did my junior year and senior year in high school here, and then I went to UC Santa Cruz as a
Hmm.
pre-med student because that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a doctor.
Hmm.
So I was on my way of becoming, on the way to pre-med, and I started taking some computer science courses. I really liked it,
Hmm.
and I wanted to do more of it. So in the meantime, I was also, interested. I didn't want to leave my pre-med. I love
Hmm.
biology. I loved learning all about the human body. So I decided to pursue both. I decided to do a double major in computer science and molecular biology.
Hmm.
And I worked with my counselor on how we can make that happen. And I also got to work on, there weren't any grad programs at that time in bioinformatics and
Hmm.
computational biology that I could work on, but I got to work with the PhD students and our bioinformatics department.
Hmm.
There was a DNA sequencing of the human genome going on at that time, so I got to work on that as an undergrad. So
Wow.
it's a lot of fun just carving out my own path. And then I wanted to combine both of them when I got out of college. So I went to work for Varian, where I was able to do the coding behind the scenes, but then I got to work with really capable scientists and physicists to look at they were making medical instruments. So I was
Hmm.
working on the NMR machines, basically the MRI machines that you see in the hospitals, but
Hmm.
very, very specialized. So I got to work with the brain images, the software running all of that.
Motion
And
detected at the front door.
it was a lot of fun. Sorry about that.
No, hey, that's what happens. We're all at home right now and completely understandable.
Yeah,
See.
so then I wanted to, do something different. I was there for 5 years. Then I went to Oracle, and that's where my journey started as a people leader. And it was a lot of fun to coach and mentor and see my team being successful. And from there, I was there for 8 years working on the middleware side of things. And from there, I went to Workday, where I got to work on at the customer collaboration and information hub for our
Mhm.
partners and customers. And it was a very different thing that I've done till now. And it made it very exciting. I was able to re-architect and rebuild that platform. And after that, doing that for about 2 years, I went to the time tracking team is where I am now. And I get to work with really great team, making a difference for over 10 million users and 2,000
Mhm.
customers worldwide. So it's been a very exciting journey.
Yeah. And you're also in some pretty interesting councils there with Workday, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've been involved with the diversity initiatives in Workday from the day I started, and it's been a very fulfilling journey. It's very important work that we do. So I founded and I'm leading the Asian Pacific Islander employee resource group, which is being called in the industry. And now, based on the growth of the company, now we have different Asian communities in the company. So we have different diverse resource groups as well. So we have the South Asians, East Asians, and Filipino and the Pacific Islanders. So I'm leading the South Asians now. So although I'm, lead for one of the employee resource groups, I get to work with a lot of different things. For example, our Women at Workday group, our LGBTQ group, the overall vibe initiatives and diversity initiatives going on in Workday, and really make a contribution and difference.
Mhm. Now, as myself growing up, I don't remember there being a lot of opportunities for us as women growing up to see women in STEM jobs. How was that for you trying to traverse a career in a very male dominated world?
Great question. So when I said I was in college and I started taking computer science courses, I was one of the very few girls in those computer science courses. Um, and it was, although everyone was supportive, but I did see that why am I the only one? Um,
Hmm.
so even at that time, when it came time to graduate, and I wanted one of the our female students to make a speech. I said, we are a minority. One of us have to speak. No one signed up, so I did that. It was my first public speaking experience. I was a very shy, and I'm still an introvert, but I was very shy and soft spoken when I was in high school and college. So
Hmm.
being able to do that, and that was one of my first uh, first recognition of this fact that we don't have a lot of female in this industry, and then going to my first job and seeing that sometimes I was the only engineer, and as I transitioned into leadership, even seeing more of that
Hmm.
sometimes I am the only woman in the group. So it still it still needs a lot of work, although the it's changing a little bit, the dynamics that we have in the undergrad majors in computer science and engineering in those STEM majors, but there's still a big gender gap there that we need to make sure that from very early on when the kids are in school, that
Hmm.
we give them this we showcase this, what are the different careers, give role models to them so they can look up to them. So there's a lot of things that go on. So that's the pipeline thing, that how do we get more female students into this field, but then how do we make them stay
Right.
is another challenge. And as you have seen in 2020, there was a report that 100% of the people who dropped out of the workforce were women. How do you get 100% of anything? That just baffles me.
Hmm.
And this is a pretty dire statistic that, there are a lot of challenges. There is, the parenthood, all of
Hmm.
the things that women have to bear. Again, lack of role models, lack of career growth, uh,
Hmm.
doing all of these biases that there are against women in the technical field. So there's still a lot of work need to be done. So for that to be done, we definitely need more women in this field so we can do this work, but also our allies. We need support from our allies, people who understand this, and the managers and leaders who believe in the potential of women to give them good mentorship, give them good sponsorship so they can take those leadership roles.
Hmm. If you could give a piece of advice to a young woman in high school who's thinking about going into technology, what would it be?
So I have a 12-year-old as well. So my daughter, so that's my, teaching at home, uh,
Hmm.
like if I can convince her. So I haven't been able to yet, and that's okay because kids have different interests.
Hmm.
But I want her to go, I want her to have a taste of it. What is
Hmm.
coding? It's not just sitting in, she thinks it's just boring. Mom, you sit at the computer and, what do you do all day?
Hmm.
And I just don't want to do that. And that's okay. But as long as she understands that, by the time she grows up, there will be technology behind everything. So it's important to understand that even though if she goes in a completely different field,
Hmm.
having that experience, having the coding experience, what makes things run. And I've told her it's not just coding; it's all the different aspects. You can be a mechanical engineer, you can be a electrical engineer. She likes to tinker with things. So I bought her robotics kits that she can build and play around with that. So for kids like my daughter and kids in high school, my advice has always been that, give it a try. It's okay if you don't like it, but do give it a try. And it's, all the different things that you use on day to day, starting from your phone to
Mhm.
iPad to computers. There are so many different things. It's all built on technology. So give it
Mhm.
some time to understand what makes it run. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But
Okay.
um, I should have turned my Alexa off.
It's okay.
But at least give them a platform, give them an option, just like how we showcase other careers. Let
Mhm.
them know that this is a viable option.
Mhm. Now, doing research on you, I read where you said that being a leader, that you've learned that you can be strong and be kind. Where does that come from for you?
Yeah, a lot of times I've seen good examples and bad examples of leadership when I was just an individual contributor. So I've had experiences where it's where managers are intimidating. And
Mhm.
I've said that that's not the kind of leader I want to be. And I also have leaders who are such good listeners who, listen to you and try to understand what motivates you and try to work with you. And, then picking up on those things that, yes, I can be that leader. So
Mhm.
it's been a lot of my learnings and research I've done, but also a lot of my personal experience. If
Mhm.
I were to, the kind of managers I've had, what are the good qualities in them? And you can be kind and assertive because, especially in this time and period we're living in, there's so many things to be stressed about.
Mhm.
People are on the edge, and you can be kind just as a human being in general. You can be kind to people in the grocery store. You can kind to be people you interact with on the street.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. So, yes, we have work to do in our work environment, but that doesn't mean that I have to be, micromanaging anyone or I need to be really stern to them. I can be
Mhm.
kind to them and I can be assertive at the same time. If something needs to get, it does need to get done, but I still need to treat everyone with respect
Mhm.
and kindness, just like how I would like to be
Mhm.
treated as well.
Yep, great advice. How do you find a work-life balance? This is such a high-end job, and then you've got a family, and how do you find that balance?
Um, it used to be a great question, like before the pandemic,
Mhm.
because you have those boundaries, you have those time and physical boundaries where, you're at work and then, you're at home. But now everything just blends together. So
Mhm.
how do you find that balance? So I think it's being intentional. It's
Mhm.
about prioritizing things in your life, what matters the most. Of course, my family is very important to me, and so is my work. I love my work,
Mhm.
and it's being intentional about it. That my when I am at work, I am at work. Completely
Mhm.
dedicated and focused. And in the evening, I do shut things down. I have auto sleep on Slack so that it shows that my notification after a certain time, so that I can help my kids with homework and
Mhm.
make dinner and so on. So those are very important things to me. So that downtime is also very important. So I also like to just have some me time so I can
Mhm.
recharge. And being an introvert, that's very important to me
Same.
after being
Same.
all the day. And, I just need some quiet time as well where I can just watch a show or read a book or whatever it is. So it's
Mhm.
finding those things and, knowing what energizes me, So for me, dancing has been always a part of, yeah. So I've always taken classes. It's also good physical exercise, and I just enjoy dancing. And so when I make room on the weekends for kids' classes, I also want to make sure I have time for my classes in between when
Mhm.
I'm the pickup and drop offs and coordinating those things with my husband. So it's being, I think it's all comes down to intentionality.
I love that you balance the tech side with the art side. I think that's great. I would love to hear what inspires you or even who inspires you.
That's a great question. And, one of the most inspiring people in my life has been my dad. Uh, he was uh, he was only teenager when he, uh, like there was this time before 1947 when India and Pakistan were one country. And during the time of partition, there was this big migration, all the Hindus moving to India because of the situation and everything, that the history books will tell you. So he was only a teenager when he moved to India. My grandfather and his family were very rich at the time when they were in Pakistan, which is now Pakistan. And when they moved, they had lost everything. So my dad used to work in the daytime and then study under the night light, under the street light,
Wow.
because they couldn't even afford electricity. So he worked really, really hard, and he went through a lot. He set up his own business. He was a serial entrepreneur, seeing what things work, what doesn't work, and he always taught me and my siblings the importance of education, importance of hard work, and he wanted all of us to have good education and that dedication that yes, you can do it if you put your mind to it. And I have three sisters and two brothers, and he always treated us all equal. And like even more so with the girls, he gave us like a little bit more freedom and like instilled that confidence in us. And then also my mom was a homemaker, and always been so supportive to my dad. So now both of them are not in this world, but I still remember their teachings. I still remember uh, what they stood for, and it's one of the reasons I'm here, because he believed that US is great for opportunity for everyone. And so they are really, really inspirational to me. And besides them, I find inspiration in everything. I think I can learn from everyone I meet.
Mhm.
It's just being curious about things. Everyone in their life has things going on. It's not that, I'm sharing my story, but I'm sure there's so many women out there who have had to work so hard to get where they are.
Mhm.
And whether it's in career or whether it's just in their home life, raising kids, dealing with challenges, everyone have things in their life, how they overcome that even day to day. How does when you have two kids who are like so energetic, how do you deal with them? It's I always try to pick up things and learn things along the way, and I feel like inspiration is all around us. We just have to have the eye to look for it.
Wow, I love your point of view on all of that. Well, Mamta, thank you so much for coming by and being our first guest on how she got there. I loved hearing your story. Can't wait to see where life takes you next. I think that it's amazing where you've come from and how hard you've worked, and you're now a senior engineering lead at Workday. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Jamie. It's
You're
my
welcome.
pleasure.
All right, thank you.